What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Survivor Season 47, Episode 12. Last one before the two-part Survivor 47 finale. Gonna have a part 1 and a part 2 divided into 2 weeks. So excited for that. But I gotta say, after watching this one, I saw some rumors, and we'll talk about it as we go through the episode too. But heard some rumors that this was one of the best, if not the best, episode of the new era of Survivor. Let me tell you, it did not disappoint. So, Kyle went home last week, obviously. We're going to jump right into the episode, talk about everything that happened in this episode, give our reaction to it. But before we do jump in, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. More Survivor content on the channel. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So back at camp after Tribal Council, Sue is very happy because it was too much about Kyle and his heartwarming story, and mad because he said her and Caroline were Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and really, this kind of, I guess, a lot of people have been describing it better, is a one-sided, feud between both of them. And watching some of Kyle's exit interviews too, it was kind of one-sided. Like, she wasn't nasty towards him on the island, but could definitely tell that she just wasn't rocking with him at all. And you know, her number one enemy in the game is now out of the game. Andy, Rachel, and Teeny, Sue, and Caroline seem to be the five that seem to be popping everyone off, as Sam says, and him and Genevieve are in a tough spot here in the final 7. Genevieve apologizes to Andy for discounting his game and hopes that they can still be friends and doesn't want it to be uncomfortable. Genevieve is kind of trying to shrink her perception of herself in this game, since everyone thinks she's so calculated in this game. Genevieve starts to plant the seed with Teeny that Rachel's the biggest threat and that everyone's chances go up if she's gone. Then offends Teeny by saying she's not a slam dunk to vote for Teeny if Rachel is there in the end. Teeny says that sounds like a threat. And I mean, she's just being honest at this point. I mean, that doesn't mean the perception or the perspective of Teeny's game, or whoever else, Andy, so whoever else game, can change towards the end. But if you're saying right now, at this point in the game, I think the majority of people to this point in the game would say that, yeah, Rachel probably has a really good shot to win. Say Caroline has a good shot to win at this point. Genevieve has a good shot to win. But those are the people that stuck out because they've made loud moves. But guess what? It's still only the final 7. So Teeny has some opportunities here to turn this around. And I think she's played a good game to this point. I like Teeny a lot. I like how she's authentic. We'll get more into it here in a second. But yeah, I think Teeny is right there too, but if she makes a couple moves down the stretch, she could be one of the favorites to win when we get to the final 3 too. But she doesn't like that, thinks it's a threat, and we just kind of really just jump into the reward challenge after that. Go into the sanctuary, Italian food, wine, tiramisu. Through the challenge, comes down to Rachel versus Sam, and Sam pulls it out. Can spend the night at the sanctuary too, and letters from home. And the letters from home, as everyone agrees, is more important than the food. Tough decision, obviously, for Sam. Picks Andy and Genevieve. Jeff asks the 4 remaining what game impact this has. Teeny immediately speaks up and says Sam and Genevieve are on the outs and already are known to be a pair because they're threats, and they're trying to pull herself and Teeny in to get one of the targets out. And this makes me think one way and they'll have a bad outcome, basically, is what Teeny was saying. And listen, the letters from home are always going to bring the high tension, and I get it. But I'm curious at this point about the overwhelming edit of, it seems like it's got to be Sam or Genevieve going home. At this point in the episode, just seems kind of overwhelming. And for sure, one is going home seems kind of early in the episode, though, to be, so heavily on like, oh yes, for sure, one of these 2 people are going home. Usually that means a wrench is going to get thrown in the plan. Sam knew he wanted to pick Andy because he's earned it and has always had a smile on his face. And Sam says that he wasn't always the friend that he should be and wanted to make it up to him. Genevieve talks about when Sam asks about why she plays so closed off and references the Kashan vote and Kashan when he left saying that I trusted you. And, that really struck a chord with her. And ironic enough, in her letter from home, her dad said, I'm sure you have so many friends, even though, as she says, she chose to have none in this game. That's how she wanted to play now, especially after that early in the game. Sam and Annie read their letters as well. Nice boost for the end of the game, and always emotional too. Back at camp, though, Teeny, Rachel, Caroline, and Sue Get back to camp and Teeny starts letting it out. She throws her stuff down and says, maybe I should give myself a minute before I say something I regret. She says Sam decides he's quit the game, basically, and to have a last meal with his friend. Why not try a Hail Mary and take me? We did kind of see this last season, the Applebee's reward with Liz last season. So, like the as I already kind of said, the family letters, the letters from home, a big reward like that with about a week left in the game is always going to cause a lot of emotion from the group, and we see that here. They talk about them being a solid four and a nice final four of all women. Back at the sanctuary, Andy tells Sam and Genevieve that he woke up today with a plan. They're like, cool, would love to hear a plan. We're at the bottom. He tells them about the Underdog Alliance, the five that have been voting together with Sam and Genevieve on the outs. Pretty much no chance to pull any of them in. So his plan is to convince them that one of them, Sam or Genevieve, have an idol, and they split the vote, and he switches his vote to get Rachel out. They're going to nickname the Operation Italy to get Rachel out. So they make a fake idol. They come together to get their stories straight and, kind of go over everything to make sure everything's, rock solid on everyone's part, their stories. Sam lays it on when they get back to camp with his theater experience, as he says, going around just saying he's trying to survive. He knows he's at the bottom. Sam gave his original idol that's expired and some bracelets from Tree Mail to Genevieve so she can make that fake idol. And Andy talks about, besides the letters, he had such a bad time. He just spreads that word around to everyone, and that they basically just tried to wine and dine him and, didn't have a good time. Andy sells that he's scared for an idol card, and Caroline says that she is scared of an idol too, and, basically willing to split the vote, which is, okay, that's where they want to go, but we're going to jump into Immunity Challenge, see if any wrench is thrown into their plans. It's a long, tough challenge, but the spot at the final 6 is on the line. And while I'm watching this, I'm curious, we didn't see this at least on camera, but if Andy, Sam, and Genevieve talked about, what if it's one of them? Sam and Genevieve talking about this. If one of them wins, their plan is kind of thrown, a wrench is thrown into their plan because no need to split the vote then. And both of them were kind of close there at the end, but Rachel gets the first ball, second ball, and third ball before I don't think anyone else got any balls on the little paddle there. So Rachel wins immunity again. So who's the new target now? Operation Italy, is it dead? Well, Sam and Genevieve talk back at camp and both say, if it's one of us, give it your all, go after it. You got my vote in the end. But if we can still pull off this plan, it's a flexible plan. Should we go after Teeny or Caroline? So maybe Operation Italy is not dead yet. The 5 back at the shelter are down to split the vote, except Teeny just wants Sam gone. It's just over it, just wants Sam gone. Teeny approaches Genevieve and Sam, and Genevieve tells her, if the votes are on me, keep them on me. Teeny's like, am I picking up what you're throwing down? And, she's like, can I see it? And Genevieve kind of flashes the idol to her. And, thankfully, Andy starts to walk up. So they start to move. And, Sam darts off. And then they kind of start walking away. Everyone's scattering. And Teeny gets a little more explanation. They move to another spot. And says that she got a clue at the sanctuary and had to go get it when she got back to camp this morning. Genevieve did. Now Teeny is very confident that Sam will go home tonight and that the plan will go as planned. Well, we know what happens when there's about 25 minutes left in the episode and someone is so confident. It means something might not go as planned. Andy says that he wants to go after Caroline. Sam and Genevieve, optimistic, just worried about Rachel's block a vote here, really, because if she chooses to block one of their votes, this is all null and void, and, they won't have the numbers to pull this off. Caroline and Rachel tell Sam to write down Genevieve. Caroline is nervous her name's being wrote down because Sam told her that Genevieve was going to write her name down. Caroline looks through Genevieve's bag, doesn't see anything. Sue tells Caroline that she wants to play her idol for her to make sure she's safe. So now we got another variable here. We got the possibility of Rachel playing her block a vote. We got the possibility of Sue playing her idol for Caroline. Andy is trying to convince Rachel, who wants to just load up on Sam, that, Genevieve will still play her idol, and, about her block a vote, Andy's like, we need to save that for 6, trying to make sure she doesn't play that, but I don't know. Operation Italy plan is not looking good right now. And as Genevieve says, there is more ways that this can go wrong than right. We jump to Tribal Council. Again, as we said, going in, not feeling good, but Genevieve and Andy talk about the impact the reward had on them. Teeny is outspoken about getting out of her emotional rut that she was in and not being chosen. And Caroline harps on that they're in the majority and, so much time for them to strategize to plot their demise, meaning the people back at camp, not the people that were on the reward. Teeny drops a very true line that perception is reality in Survivor. We've heard it a million times, and that everyone's just trying to figure out a path to the end to win the game. Also, a surprising comment that put that out there, but Teeny says a pecking order has been decided. Wow. So, I mean, with the numbers, they should feel confident. Genevieve does a good job saying that she feels confident about tonight and is, swinging for the fences, if she will say. And Sam does a good job after they go vote of telling Genevieve, like, play the idol. I'll be good with the outcome. Just play the idol. Do a little back and forth. Obviously, neither of them play anything because neither of them have anything. And that was a good selling job right there, let me tell you. And oh my God, they actually did it. Caroline goes home. They pull off Operation Italy, and I can't believe they pulled that off. That I was almost assured going into tribal council that something was going to go wrong, and Genevieve was going to go home or Sam was going to go home. Like something was going to happen. Sue was going to get spooked and play the idol for Caroline, or Rachel was going to do the block of vote like that. And listening to recording this the day after the episode, and listening to some of Caroline's exit interviews, sounds like she was the one asking Sue not to play the idol for her, and convincing Rachel to not use the block of vote to save that, and not use that because she wanted Andy to feel like this was his move to get out Genevieve. That was part of her strategy in the game, and obviously came back to bite her. But I got to tell you, I love Caroline. I thought she was an incredible player, and I thought she was gaining great momentum in this game. And I thought it was going to come down to her and Rachel, whoever got into that final three. I thought was going to take it home. But obviously now, the rest of the group, Teeny, Sue, Rachel, all, kind of left out to dry with Caroline going home, and now Andy teaming up with Sam and Genevieve here. Listen, I'll say this. I can't believe they pulled it off. As I said, I thought there was like a 0% shot that they pulled that off going into tribal council, but they did. They pulled it off. So now I'm curious how they go back and pick up the pieces. I know this is kind of just the new era of Survivor, it's not like the old days of like a Boston Rob, alliance that lasts from day 3 to day 39, or in this case, till day 27, or whatever. It's not like that. It's more of like voting pockets. Like, okay, I vibe and have similar interests to this group of 4 or 5 players. We're going to vote together for 2 or 3 votes until our interests don't align. Then I'm going to vote with this 3 or 4 people to get someone here out. And that's the modern day, new era Survivor. But I'm curious how the jury will view that. We saw, I think it was Soul say that, yep, that was Andy. He flipped again. And going into next week, a 2-part season finale coming up. They know the idol's fake, it sounds like, from the preview. Genevieve says the island is not big enough for the both of us, and painting it kind of as a Genevieve versus Rachel. I think they're the 2 biggest threats remaining in this game. And then I think right below them is Teeny, right there. Like Teeny and Sam, they're kind of like right there with them as well. I'll be curious who gets to the end here. And is that Rachel sneaking around a bush listening to a conversation? Like the sneakiness here. Should be an incredible 2-week finale, and a lot of momentum after this really, really good episode. As I said at the top, I heard going in from people that had seen it early that this was one of the best episodes of the new era, and I gotta say, it lived up to all the hype. Absolutely incredible. Loved seeing all the videos of the watch parties and everyone's reactions to it. I gotta tell you, I was watching it late last night after it already aired, was trying to stay off Twitter to, not see any spoilers, and had something else going on at the time. Watched it a little bit later and was watching it, and finished watching it shortly after 1 o'clock here, and could not sleep for about 45 minutes because I was so jacked up about the end of that episode. That was incredible. It was an incredible roller coaster ride. Looking to ride that momentum into the 2-part finale starting next Wednesday. So thank y'all so much for watching. We'll be back, obviously, to talk about the finale next week. So thank y'all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.